either going on one cushion into the side of the pack to open them up, and there's a chance that a red could come down and move the black into play as well. What he shouldn't do is play for one of the loose reds.
I was just about to say, would you play for the two reds and the black, or play for the pack and take a chance?
I think I'd play for the two reds, just purely because you can't guarantee, hitting the two reds. He's unlucky there. I reckon he's on one. He is on one. I was saying he's unlucky because he hasn't freed the black, but what he has done is freed the pink spot.
5.
He couldn't have played this a lot better. Pushed through the pack, didn't it, that cue ball?
Okay. 6.
It was nice to see Peter on the way into the auditorium today with his 19-year-old daughter Clarissa, who's with him today. It's great to see. You may remember her from many years ago in the scenes when Peter won here at the championship, and he picked her up and held her with the trophy in his arms. And she's 19 now, looks absolutely great. Amazing how time flies.
Well, you can see just coming up to, or just passing the 3-hour mark. Peter plays his best snooker when he's actually playing at a quicker pace than he has done in this match so far. Ronnie O'Sullivan's average shot time, amazingly enough, is 15 seconds, which is very, very quick for Ronnie. But Peter Ebdon's up at 29 now. John, if you're going to play with any sort of fluency, surely you've got to be around 20 seconds.
Yeah, I think it's sometimes you can try and be so exact and so correct that you stop your own rhythm. I think Peter's in the mode of trying not to make a mistake at the minute, and unfortunately that can detract from your own play. He's not overly slow, nobody's suggesting that. It's just that you'd like to see him be a little quicker and a little bit more fluent when he's in the balls to try and to score.
It's one of his last tournaments. I can't remember if it was the Regal Welsh or one of the other tournaments we played. His shot time was down at 20 seconds, and we spoke about it afterwards. And he said, I'd love to play at that speed. He said, but sometimes I just can't.
20. I
can't get the rhythm at all. He said, I struggle. But he's such a good player, Peter Ebdon. Had a lot of complaints when he beat Ronnie O'Sullivan here a few years ago, taking it a little bit longer. I'm not sure what his shot time was in that particular match. But why should you play the pace that Ronnie wants to play? There's two people on the table. If Ronnie doesn't like it, he should just battle and try and get Peter to play at his pace.
25.
Probably requires a little cannon here. There is position for one red he could play on, but I think he may need to move a few of them about. Doesn't have to hit them too hard, just enough to move them into possible positions. Like that.
Yes, that red is pushed into the other red. May still be a plant in the corner, so he doesn't necessarily have to play another cannon at the moment. Can he score enough points just off the pink alone? Well, there's enough loose reds, isn't there? 5 reds and 5 pinks now. We're taking past the winning line.
Yes, we mentioned that the black was tied up, but there's nowhere in the rule says you can't make a break on pinks.
I had the pleasure of commentating on the first session of the match this morning with Ding and Ryan Day, and every time Ding broke off, where the reds are now either side of the black, that's what happened, and every time Ryan Day broke off, the black was free. And they both break off similar, the cue ball in the same sort of place. It's amazing, it must just be the pace sometimes that puts the reds there. But that was Ronnie's break, and of course Ronnie, being one of the greatest break builders of all time, would never want to have the black safe.
I always remember that break off in pot black, Willie, when Doug Mountjoy broke off. One red went to the top cushion, one went to the side, and they both come back in exactly the same place. It looked like he hadn't broken off.
I think that's the beauty of the game, isn't it? There's never two frames the same. Won't be playing to move the black out here, it's a bit too risky. We're playing, I'm just looking at the angle he's got. I don't think he can get round the back of the black without kissing those two reds. If he just plays with stun and side, I'm not sure he can play that. Well, answers on a postcard what he played there, because I can't imagine what he played there. I mean, could he kiss the red and be on the black? Well, at that pace, there's nothing that could develop the black.
Well, I think he's just trying to put a bit of check side on and flick the left-hand side of the red there and leave himself on the black, but that was very high risk. I think there was a bit of check on the cue. Well, he's hoping there's a bit of check on it, and just to flick it out.
Peter Ebdon 40.
It didn't come off.
I'll get a chance of showing you on Hawkeye what Peter was trying to do, and I'd like to see that, because I'm not sure what he played. This is the position he was in. Hawkeye was saying he was trying to do that. Yeah, I thought it was touching, so he would have had to spring the black away, and this is what he did. Yeah, I suppose in fairness the black was free in the right hand corner, so if it did play with the check side that John suggested, he may have got that. Excellent pace of cue ball here, which makes this safety shot a lot more difficult. Of course, when you're playing a thin safety shot, these cushions have been tending to bounce a little bit, so these are very tough when you're near the cushion. The two to the right of the pink, you can hit the outside of those and get the cue ball back into baulk. It's amazing how big the baulk colours are though when you're playing this shot. It's not only getting back into baulk, it's missing the baulk colours on the way back. Now, has he missed them this time? You would think that brown is about 3 foot wide, wouldn't you?
There's a certain gentleman sitting in the studio this afternoon who, when he was in his pump, never hit a baulk colour. He's got ginger hair.
Or no hair now.
Yeah, and you can guess who it is. He used to be absolutely mustard with his safety and never seemed to hit a baulk colour.
He must have been luckier than most of us then.
Well, got to be careful with this one. And he was, and that's an excellent shot. Very good.
Yes, O'Sullivan appreciated that shot. Playing with so much side he was there, it's so easy to hit it thick. But he played it perfectly. And the same can be said about that shot. That was very tough to play as well. Where's the cue ball finishing? Absolutely perfect.
Well, look at the swerve on this. See the cue ball go round there, the side, This was beautifully played. I thought Peter's shot was excellent. And Ronnie O'Sullivan's has just trumped it.
Yeah, having looked at that, he couldn't see enough of that red because it was just the side that kind of arced it round the blue, and it was brilliant. It was a brilliant picture. That's
one of the worst things about our game. You sit in your chair, think you've just played one of the best shots of and you come to the next one, you've got no shot at all. I mean, he's in trouble here. Well, that's all he can see, according to Hawkeye. That's the angle there. I mean, he can come home. He's got to try and drop on this red on the right-hand side, dead weight here. The red on the left to the black would be potable if he doesn't get this right, so this has got to be spot on.
Well, he's just put the red in a potable position, depending on what angle he has on this red. I don't know whether it's dead straight or not. Ronnie always likes to play to pot these, even though they are missable at pace. Yeah, that was a tricky one to play.
Yeah, it's very difficult pockets. I'm just wondering whether he's got away with it as well. The red's come out and stuck on the other one. So that's quite fortunate not to leave something on there.
Yeah, Peter can play a very thin shot off the two reds above the black and probably try and rest on the brown. That's what he'd like to do if he can hit it nicely. He's playing an alternative shot though. He spotted something else. Still the same equation though, just trying to rest right on the brown to make the cueing awkward.
I don't think I've ever seen a game with two sets of balls, four of two sets, all stuck to each other like that. Amazing. That was a good enough shot. He was in trouble there.
Peter's got the same shot on. He played a little earlier. The two reds to the right of the black. Very, very thin. Around three cushions in towards the brown spot area. Sorry, the brown, where the brown is at the moment. But they're very difficult to play this because, as I said, playing with that much left-hand side, it's very easy to hit them thick.
Yes, another thing as well is Peter plays with a very big tip on the end of his cue. You may notice this, must get a chance to see it at some point. And I know I used to play with an overhanging tip on my cue, and sometimes it can bite with the side and you get too much on, so you have to be very careful. You can see it there. Well, that is a muckman's hat, isn't it?
And the side he's playing with as well, loads of side. Played it nicely though. It's always in your eye line when you're playing, you know, the browns are in there for a lot. When you're playing a safety shot like that, you're thinking, well, play the cannon into the brown. And it's amazing how that makes the safety shot a lot easier when you've got a target.
Well, when he puts his mind to it, Ronnie, I've got a job trapping him, I can assure you. His safety play is of the highest level. It's certainly very underestimated. We all know how good he is amongst the balls and break building, but when he applies himself to his safety, he's as good as anybody.
Well, Peter's just got to bite the bullet here and just roll up to the three reds. Any safety shot he tries from queuing over a ball is going to be very difficult. I suppose he could even attempt the pot and try and get back into the balk area, but if he hits this thick, it could be very costly. Not too sure whether the brown moved there, actually. I was looking quite closely, and let's just have a little look whether we can notice anything there. No, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
Listen, Arian Williams was right on top of that, and he doesn't miss too much. He's an ex-policeman. He's got a very keen eye, Arian.
That's the problem with playing topspin when a ball's near a pocket. That's what happens. But he can certainly bring a few balls into play here. He may decide to bring the black into play. No, he's going to bring some more balls into play. He'll try and get in behind the brown again here. Lots of side, just missed the enough, and it should be towards the brown. And if he gets in behind the brown, I'm going to take my hat off to him, because that's exactly what he played. Congratulations. I've done my cap, young man. Perfectly played.
Don't get too many into the pound.
When the great Ronnie O'Sullivan had the pleasure of working with 6 times world champion Ray Reardon, and Ray kind of got him to enjoy safety. And I think sometimes, John, he's not been enjoying getting involved in a battle, but today I think he's enjoying the safety.
Yes, he's looking at all the problems in front of him and trying to solve them, and he certainly give Peter one here.
Foul and a miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan 4.
Yes, no real value in Ronnie taking anything on there. I'll just put Peter back in and see if he can promote the red for him into a possible position.
It's a 40-point lead at this stage, where the bullseye is massive, so he doesn't want to be giving too many 4-point penalties away. I'd rather risk hitting this red and leaving it on than giving a few points away.
Foul and a miss.
Don't you think, John, with where the balls are, you can't afford to give many points away. And that lead is quite substantial.
Well done. Okay. Couple of sighters to see where it was, but it eventually got there.
Same place again? Surely you can't judge this pace properly to get him behind the brown again. Oh, he's decided to do the green this time. But this is potable, and Peter has to take it on. The only problem is he may kiss the pink on the way back, and that red towards the left-hand middle will be on. Got to be very careful with this one. Been fortunate to cover the one near the middle.
Yes, just wondering if that red over the middle is a certainty or it's tight to the cushion there, because Ronnie's looking just to see whether it might be beneficial to try and get the black into play. I think it probably will pot, so decided against it.
One.
Try to avoid the kiss on the yellow there to get on the brown, funny enough. He tried to screw onto the side cushion. There's a shot on here, though. Could bring the 3 reds into play. Nowhere near.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 1.
Yes, good news and bad news in that shot. Bad news he missed the blue, but good that he missed the cannon on the 3 reds.
Yes, the few oohs and ahs in the crowd, but that was a tough pot to play. And luckily for Peter, it's gone over the hole. Still a massive favourite, even though the lead's only 24 points. And that's not helped.
1. O'Sullivan,
Well,
1.
he's been desperate for the last few shots to get the black into play, but he's given Peter a chance here. This is not easy, but it is a tempter. Might be one of those shots, Willie, where you've opened it and left him a chance, but it may end up winning you a frame. It could go either way, this shot.
Yeah, I think it's one of those, though, John, at the pace he's going to play it, you'd fancy him knocking it in, because he just has to just trail it in. Doesn't have to any weight at all. Oh, that's dive to the left-hand cushion. Oh, we saw that, didn't we? We saw that. And Peter's just amazed at how... We actually saw that on that camera. It was in when he hit it, and it suddenly took a complete dive to the left. Just watch this. It's in there, then watch. Just dive to the cushion. Peter's absolutely shocked with what happened to that.
1. Foul. Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1. Peter Ebdon, 7.
Oh, it's all happening here at the minute. Quite a lot already in this championship, balls jumping off the table, but how that's managed it, I don't know.
Well, at that speed, John, it shouldn't happen, should it? It's a shame, because these tables have been playing beautifully. Okay, he may have caught the jaw first there, which he didn't mean to do, but there's no way that should have come off the table. So Peter Ebdon has a quick reprieve.
Shot, that was a lot better than it looked, slightly hampered by the other red, so good cueing. There you go. 10 out of 10 he's with the rest today, or in this match I should say. 100%.
Now, having a look at the scoreboard here would help Peter, because the 2 reds are safe. He needs a pink to put him 44 in front with 43 on. So that's what he should try and do. He shouldn't be trying to get on the brown or any other colour. He'd love to be 44 in front with 43 on. But decided to play for the brown, so he now needs another red. How will he live to regret that?
No, he'll do well to get on a red here. He can come down and just leave a double if he wants. The red on the side cushion, but there's no way you can play a cannon off the brown to move the red on the left-hand side of the cushion, I don't think. So deciding to tuck Ronnie up instead.
Peter Ebdon, 9. Foul.
Well, that 6 points
Peter
is
Ebdon,
going to
6.
make a big difference. Of course, if Peter is in the situation now, barring snookers, it'll be Ebdon who closes the gap to 8-3. There's a good picture of how big Peter Ebdon's tip is and how much it overhangs. There's only about 3 or 4 of the top players have overhanging tips now. Years ago in our area, John, especially, a lot of players used to have an overhanging tip. Look how much that is. It's almost I don't know, 1/8 of an inch over the ferrule. Well, that'll certainly put the frame beyond doubt. He's just had a quick look at Ronnie. But Peter didn't, he fancied another bit of practice. Though undoubtedly this frame is now over.
1.
So Ken Doherty in the studio alluded to the fact that he has to win 3 out of 4 frames, and of course now he's won that first frame. He's still got a chance of doing that. If he could come out 8-5, he would still be in this match. Any other scoreline now, he would expect he would be out
8.
of it.
That's 9. $13. Wow. Peter Ebdon.
Well, another vintage frame from these two players that Peter Ebdon made an early 40. That was enough to get the lead he needed in that frame. He eventually wins it. He now trails 8-3.
It's quietly watchable, this, isn't it? But it's not the blockbuster, I think, that we had perhaps been anticipating, Ken.
No, it's intriguing, all right, but it's not... I don't think Peter Ebdon can come back the way he's playing at the moment. I mean, he has to, as I said before, he has to win a couple of frames quickly. You can't just drag frames on and try and expect, because he's still giving O'Sullivan a couple of chances, and eventually Ronnie will win a frame in one visit. He has to, you know, it has to be one sort of chance snooker for Peter Ebdon for a couple of frames, until it gets really tight, and then those frames can build in, you know, but he can't win the way he's playing at the moment, Peter Ebdon.
And if you are 8 frames to 3 ahead, clearly there's perhaps a touch of frustration creeping in, but with that sizable advantage, how valuable is that lead in actually controlling your temperament out there from Ronnie's perspective?
Oh, I think it's probably everything, especially for a player like Ronnie. It's not about playing blockbuster snooker in the first round. You very rarely see it, I think. I think you're lucky if you see a cracking match first round. It's all about getting through, and then you feel as if you're in the tournament for proper and you can start to move through the gears, even if you could. The trouble is, these days, you can get caught out in the first round and you're back home sitting in your chair watching the rest of the tournament unfold. It seems to be very easy for the top players to be more vulnerable now than before. But Ronnie's done a very good job, I think. Don't underestimate, even if he hasn't been on you know, top-notch play, don't underestimate the importance of getting through against a tough player like Peter Ebdon, informed Peter Ebdon as well.
Absolutely, yeah, and actually to follow up on that point, that's something I think, that quality in Ronnie is something we've seen very much in the last 3 months or so. He went to Germany and he was under severe pressure there. He knew he had to win one of the 2 next world ranking events in order to more or less automatically qualify here. I mean, he was in danger of not being here at all at one point.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in the first round he was 4-0 down to Andrew Higginson in Germany and came back to win 5-4 and went on to win the tournament. Yeah, but I think we've seen a little bit more patience from Ronnie than we would have expected in this type of match, you know. And he's obviously he's up for it, you know, and he's determined. And although he's not firing on all cylinders, you know, as the tournament progresses, and if he gets through this match, which we expect him to do, that, you know, he will get better and better.
Okay, back to John and Willie then.
Yes, and an excellent break-off from Peter Ebdon in this 12th frame. And he tapped the table in appreciation.
That's a little bit unlucky, isn't it? It played a shot to nothing, and if that red hand had come over the middle, he would have virtually got away with that. How did that red end up there? As Jord hit the pack, it's another one out, and there's that red breaking out, which has come right over to the position you can see it now. This is where Peter's going to have to try and win a frame at one visit. He doesn't want to, as Ken said, just keep having to grind everything out. It's almost impossible to grind out 7 or 8 frames on the trot. You've got to win some frames at one visit.
I'm very sorry, but that's a stinker. I just don't know why
4.
he's ended up there off that shot. He's shaking his head, Peter, but he completely overhit that. A massive area to come into there to make sure he's on this red, but to finish there, oh, that's unforgivable.
Peter Ebdon 4.
He really is enjoying the battle of safety this afternoon, Ronnie. I don't think I've seen him try so hard in the safety exchanges as he has done in this first few frames. Safety success pretty high from both players. Needs the jaws to come to his rescue here, and they have.
Just coming down the table to have a look to see the red on the right hand side. As we look, he's going to chip off that one. What it's going to do to the other reds, I don't know whether he can play it through the gap so it doesn't contact anything. Well, I think he actually hit the wrong ball there. Yes, he did. Must have been quite a small gap through there. Flicked the other red, and to finish where he has is quite fortunate. Allied to the fact that hampered Kewen as well.
Foul and a miss. Ronnie O'Sullivan 4.
It's quite a delicate shot for Peter to play. He doesn't want to be playing this with any pace and moving the reds around and leaving one on for Ronnie, so you can't blame him for being on the soft side with this. He just needs to just have enough pace to reach the reds.
Well, that can only be described as a twitch. He was so anxious about not reaching. And I know what John's saying about, but he can afford to hit it, another foot of pace. It's certainly a shot that he should be able to, obviously, because it is 2 times he's missed the ball, he won't be risking playing at that pace this time. But he's going to play the same shot, but I think it'd be slightly harder. No problem this time. Wasn't that difficult for you, was it?
And I've actually lost a frame here at the Crucible Theatre. 3 misses like that, yep. I played against Anthony Hamilton, and believe you me, it's embarrassing.
he spotted a plant.
Well, if this is on, hold on to your hats, because these will go everywhere. Yep, you can see it there. Just slightly on the right-hand jaw as we're looking, but I think the way Peter will play it, he'll make this into a plant. So get ready. Attention, all pockets, here we go.
Yes, he might be playing this one slow. In fairness, you'd have to say it's a little unfortunate not to get the white into open play. Okay, the white's come out, but unluckily for Peter fans, he's not on the colour. Threw his cue at this, didn't he? Watch his head, arms, everything went. Took a while for the white to spin with the spin. He's a little unlucky he caught the second red thick, otherwise that cue ball would have been back in baulk. So only a safety shot. Unlucky.
Seemed a hell of a lot of effort for 1 point there, really.
Just keep an eye on the white. When it hits the second red thick, all of a sudden it takes its time to get that top spin on. If it had caught that red slightly thinner, that cue ball would have been in baulk area. Ronnie's safety at the moment on that kind of shot is poor. He's not catching the edge of the ball.
Well, he completely hit across that. He had a bit of side on that to try and whiz it round the angles there to get on the black in the same pocket. And he hit right across that, and he knows it.
Yes, and up to then he'd got 100% pot success rate with the rest.
One.
Unfortunately, he did twitch a bit at that one. He knew it was an important shot, and that could be his last shot in this frame.
Eight. 9. $16. 17.
No need to, but Ronnie might just play the kiss on the red next to the pink here just to hold the cue ball. Just slows the cue ball down, you see, so he doesn't have to run away, and also what it does is bring the pink into play.
24.
Never misses a trick, Ronnie. Along with Hendry and possibly Ding.
25.
They see the shot so quickly.
We're always extolling his virtues when we watch O'Sullivan, but one of the great things about him as well is after safety
31.
battles, prolonged ones at that, you can score.
32.
Sometimes you get put off if you're in long safety battles to score immediately after, but it doesn't bother Ronnie. He really does hit the ball sweetly.
38. 39. 45. 46.
'And that's the other thing when you're sitting in a chair watching him.
52.
He scores so quickly. Blink of an eye, he's 55 points behind here, Ebdon.
53.
Peter now knows he's facing the task of having to win the remaining 7 frames. So just one more red needed.
60. 61.
And this knowledgeable crucible crowd realise that is frame ball. This is more O'Sullivan pace, isn't it? Still at 15 seconds a shot.
68.
And when you consider there's been some safety played today, well, that's dropping as well. That's the old tables, isn't it?
68.
So once again, Peter decided to carry on. He's 71 points behind. Not too many players would carry on from here.
Yep. Thank you.
Well, he looked at Peter Ebdon, Ronnie looked back, and Peter acknowledged defeat in that frame. So 68 break. There's more than enough for Ronnie O'Sullivan to go further clear at 9-3. Now, we saw Peter earlier on in that frame, John. Up to now, he had 100% pot success rate with the rest. But we see this shot here when he's playing with the rest. And honestly, this can only be described as a twitch because everything moved.
Yes, he's trying to play a delicate screw across the table here with a bit of side. But of course, when he hits this, he hits right across it. Doesn't get the work on the cue ball he wants, throws it off, hits the jaw. As you say, everything moved apart from the lampshade there, but it was not pretty, but it was a little bit of pressure on a shot that was quite delicate there.
Yes, and obviously, as you mentioned, Ronnie O'Sullivan then cleared with 68 points, and he did it in the blink of an eye, as you mentioned. And I think the shot time is crucial in this game. Ken alluded to the fact that Peter Ebdon, playing like he is, couldn't get back into the match. And you'd have to agree with that, because he's just not making anything happen quickly.
Well, there's the point of no return now for Peter.
Q, frame 13.
Positively
Ronnie
Herculean to
O'Sullivan.
win from here. 9-3 down to O'Sullivan.
Let's just see if he puts the black safe again with this break. Yeah, he has done again. I think his friends should have a quick word with him about the way he's breaking at the moment. I know that this time the red's just come past the black, but that red's virtually going next to the black all the time. Ronnie didn't want the black tied up at any time.
Clever little shot from Peter that. Didn't play the pot there, just played to stun the cue ball into the pack. The only trouble with that is we've got a little bit of an impasse here. I've gone into the balk area, and well, sometimes these frames end up being re-racks. Bit early to call it yet, but there's just tapping going on. I'm sure both players would want that to continue, so we'll see. Well, Ronnie can leave the gap between the reds and the blue right up to the loose red in the balk area. And that's a magnificent pot. But I have to say, slightly loose from Peter Ebdon. Okay, not many people will be able to knock that one in, but he shouldn't really have had the opportunity to see it. Potted one of those, Willie, once. I was about 12, I think.
Yes, he'll be disappointed with that one, though. Okay, he's still got the pot on. He needs to take the one below the black, really, to free the black, because the one above the black, he can't get onto a colour. Unless he plays it very pacey. Let's just see what happens here. I think he was so frustrated at the way he played the previous shot.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 5.
That was a little bit played very quickly, not happy with it. trying to force to play the black in the same pocket, you see. He's trying to go right the way around the back of the black with that.
One. Seven. Eight.
Slightly underhit that one. I'd prefer to have been a little straighter on this pink. Interesting to see whether Pete will take the opportunity to play down the black here. Does go in the top right hand pocket. Well judged.
You'd love to finish high on the black if you can, just to move that red away from the black so it's available in both pockets, but the angle he's got on this round, I don't think he can finish high.
23.
So it's a couple of shots away from making this a frame winning opportunity. Until he moves that red away, it's not.
Yes, good shot. Nicely played. Just got to get the cue ball up the table here, avoiding a can if you wanted to play on the pink. So he's decided to go across the table a little bit of check side.
31.
Once again, nicely played.
Yes, and this time he's got the angle just to flick the red away. He might decide to screw off that red, so not to risk pushing the red on the cushion. See, normally in an exhibition you just run that through and knock the red on and off the cushion, but you don't want to be playing where the balls are red on the cushion, and he couldn't have played that better.
38.
He wouldn't be very pleased at all if he didn't win the frame from here. Matter of fact, he'd be horrified.
Thank you.
Referee just checking to see if it wasn't touching ball on the blue, but nothing called, and Peter nominated pink anyway, just to clarify that. Well, he may be 9-3 behind in this match, but boy, is he still trying hard.
Foul. Peter Ebdon 45.
Well, the shot all was on, but you've got to say that's a little bit
Ronnie O'Sullivan
careless.
4.
He knew him playing that screw shot into the red, the white was going perilously close to the middle. So why not just play it fatter, you know, make sure you hit the red thicker. Rather than play a deep screw, just play a fat one, and then it widens the angle a little bit, but doesn't appear to have done any damage. Peter's going to get another chance to win this frame.
One. Seven. Eight.
I think Peter Ebdon would have been a bit of a handful in this tournament, should he have not had the unfortunate draw as he had to play somebody like O'Sullivan. I think he would have avoided any one of the top 4 or 5 players. He's queuing well enough to win.
14. $15.
So 51 points in front, just black and one more red will take us to the interval. Some people may be surprised he got past the interval, but that's what he had to do, at least stay in the match.
22. 23.
Yes, and from Ronnie's viewpoint, Willie, it was always disappointing, wasn't it? If you thought you were going to win a session and you could have got it over with without having to go to an interval and come back out again. You always look forward to doing that if you could, but now he's going to go and have a cup of tea and collect his thoughts and come back out for more snooker.
30.
Well done to Peter. He keeps on applying himself.
35. 36. 42. 43.
Just a little bit of potting practice and example of Peter's excellent cueing.
$49. 51.
Oh, he misses that green.
51 on the frame.
Wins the frame, Peter. And he's just asking if there's an interval there. And there is. Oh, off it goes. And Peter Ebdon wins that frame, but it's Ronnie O'Sullivan who leads 9 frames to 4 at the interval.
That
The rest of it,
performance
you know.
is going to give them some heart, obviously, and they will come back tomorrow afternoon and finish off that match. But we are in the final stages of this one. We've been enjoying this afternoon. And Ronnie O'Sullivan has been all afternoon, it seems like, on the brink of victory here and requires one more frame. Is it going to come here? Let's get back to Willie and to John.
Yes, there's going to have to be snooker from the gods for Peter Ebdon to win here. 9-4 down to Ronnie O'Sullivan. He's going to have to pot every ball he looks at and hope his opponent gives him some help.
Doesn't appear to be a straightforward safety shot. Only if you can see enough of this red to pot it. There's a way he can play with topspin and go for blue or bought colour. Or obviously he could just screw back, whichever he fancies. I don't think he can see enough of it to pot it though. Don't think he's made his mind up yet. It's unlikely you're going to make your mind up when you're actually down on the shot. What are you going to do?
Well, he'll settle for that. At one point it looked like it was going to be the dreaded double kiss, full ball, but he just about got away with it, flicked off the other red, and where that's finished isn't too bad at all.
The view he's got on Hawkeye, you can see that the right hand side is covered, so just playing one of these dump shots here does not leave the white at this end of the table. You never get any advantage here, but you're obviously just biding your time to try and have a better shot next time you come to the table.
Yes, and with that red in the baulk area next to the green being what it is, it's going to make this one of those frames where the cue ball's kept at this end. Unless, of course, you can get it right into the corner of the yellow pocket, as it were. And he's just having a look to see if that's on. He could come off the side cushion, but I think the pink might be in the way.
He could play the pot, John, and leave the white tight on the cushion, and you're on the pink in the middle pocket. Okay, you'd be not know exactly where the red's going to finish if it catches the jaws, but there's not an easy safety shot on here. If he plays the pot into the yellow pocket and leave the cue ball tight on the cushion, just on a straight pink, he's just looking at that now. And the only red he can leave on is the one he's going for, and he plays it. I think the pace he'll play it, the red should come away from the jaws. It looks like he's going to take that choice. Oh, that's his luck. Well, it's nowhere near the pot. But it wasn't bound to leave anything straightforward on. He played that so poorly, he's come away from the cushion, which means that Peter can play this pot. He wouldn't have been playing this if he was tight on the cushion. Good pot. One.
Yeah, some good chance. These are really nicely spread.
8. Nine. $16.
Trying to play a little cannon on the two reds that are right of that cluster there, but just missed it. Flip the other one, so this goes in the centre.
17. $24. $25. $30. $31.
So just a couple of loose reds left for Peter. Looking to leave a nice angle. Well, he'll have to be off the black where he's played. Well, he's potted that pink and put it back on its own spot. That'd be difficult to get into the reds off the blue.
$38.
It's pretty difficult from there to see what he can do. Come too straight on the black.
He's had a couple of goes, didn't he, early on in the break to play that little cannon on the red to the right of the pack, and he's finished too straight this time. And that's why it's so important when people are break building to get them open as early as you can, because all of a sudden if you end up straight like he has done here, he's probably going to have to play for the red next to the green. It's a good shot.
Yeah, he's played it well, and of course the great thing here is he can just stun this red in and leave a half ball on the brown, a natural angle to come into the side of that pack, because the left hand side of the pack, as we look at, is ideal off the brown ball.
Yeah, he's virtually going to have to play a plain ball though, John, if he does that, isn't he? The red is virtually in the line he'd like if he had to play it with left hand side. I'll see what you're saying though. If he misses the red with left hand side, he might just miss the pack. It does look on though, doesn't it? He's fine. Deserves to be on something. Unlucky.
50.
Well, he's desperately unlucky there. That was a really well played shot, plumb into the side of the pack. And the red he's taken on here is very tricky. It's a blind pocket, can't see it, and it's very delicate. But I hope to be on something better than this.
So I just wonder whether he's just going to roll it in and try and get on the black. He's got to be careful he doesn't snooker himself. Don't think he's got the angle to stun it in and kiss the red to the right of the black. So this is not guaranteed, this next positional shot. The pink's available in the middle if he just drifts by it. Don't think he's going to see the black. I don't think the red's reached. I don't think the red's reached. Don't look at that, Peter, to be fair.
50. One.
So as the match time just comes over the 4-hour mark, this is a great chance for Ronnie O'Sullivan.
8.
Okay, the red up in towards the balk area on the right hand side could be tricky, but the ones down this end,
9.
you'd fully expect O'Sullivan to mop up. As I mentioned before the interval today,
16.
when you're in front like this,
17.
you want to get the match over and done with. You don't get paid for overtime here.
$24.
Yes, his great friend
25.
Damien Hirst, the renowned artist, has been with Ronnie over the last couple of days. I'm sure Ronnie will be disappearing back to London for a couple of days before his next match.
32.
So as John mentioned, it's all about that last
33.
red, and with him being right-hander, it doesn't matter whether he's right-hand or left-hand, he's that good. But he needs to get close to that difficult red on the left-hand side at some stage. He doesn't want to be leaving it, the cue ball, to the left-hand side of the middle pocket. He wants to be to the right-hand side so he's close to the red. That's what he'll be already thinking about.
39. 40.
I mean, he may even play for a balk colour to move the red out.
I was going to suggest you think he might have played up for the yellow. Seems the easiest one to play on if you can. I mean, if he drops this in, he could come off the pink as well, but I'd always like to be on the yellow, I would have thought, for this, but might not have the angle here.
I think that's what he played for, John, isn't it? He left a good angle. He knows that anywhere near the half-ball yellow or brown, he can bring that red into play, which makes it a lot easier. But decided to leave the pink.
48.
He hasn't got the angle to move it, so he's going to have to drop it. Well, he has the angle, but he's going to have to hit it too hard. This red nearly didn't go in. Wow, I didn't realise he'd nearly missed that. Anything but tight on the cushion. Anything but tight on the cushion.
Yes, it was a little trickier than it looked that because of the middle pocket.
54.
One thing he didn't want to do there was stun that in off, and there wasn't too much of a gap between that bump and the red itself, so this is tricky. You can miss these.
Ronnie O'Sullivan.
Played it in
54.
such a way, tried to cover the pocket. I don't know yet whether he has done, but I think he has. Yes, I think he's definitely snookered. It's just a case of whether he can hit cushion first and leave the white where the red is. That's Hawkeye's view. So he's playing off the top cushion. He needs to hit this full ball. Doesn't want white and red coming at this end of the table. Oh, unfortunately he's hit half ball. That could be the end of the match. He needed to hit it full ball.
One.
Is that cue ball to slow down a little? It has done.
Yes, it's only slowed down to perfection. Couldn't have put that any better with his hand. Absolutely nothing to do with the cue ball here. And he's cleared these colours up a million times in practice.
5. 7.
It hasn't been vintage from O'Sullivan, but But he's done what he had to do. Peter Ebdon was a very, very stubborn opponent. Ronnie probably resigned himself to the fact that it was going to be hard. And that young man never gives you an easy game. It's nice to see him back playing at big time, having won the China Open a few weeks ago, where he played and beat some wonderful players, Higgins, Robertson.
14.
So he's still capable, is Peter Ebdon. But the round of applause says that that was virtually frame ball. Now will Peter Ebdon carry on?
19.
He will. Lots of middle distance breaks on, you know, the 40s, 50s and that. You know, obviously Ronnie will improve for the run, as it were, but, you know, you've got to start getting 70s and 80s. Peter Ebdon's clawed his way back into that first session when he got to 8-3. If he wins the next game 8-4, he'd have been okay, but it was always a uphill battle. When you come into a session 7-2 behind, it's always going to be tough. Well, unwantedly potted the ping, so Peter Ebdon offering the hands of congratulations. Always a great loser, Peter Ebdon, a gentleman at the table. Ronnie O'Sullivan, the crowd favourite, goes into the next round, and he wins by 10 frames to 4.